We're diving into a conversation that affects every artist, producer, and creative in Nigeria. We're talking royalties redefined, understanding the copyright levies. Now, there's been growing buzz around the copyright levy really means, who it benefits, and whether it's the game changer the creative industry has been waiting for, or just another policy people don't fully understand. To help us break it down with no confusion, no big grammar, we're joined by someone right at the center of it all. He is the CEO of the Musical Copyright Society here in Nigeria, MCSN, Mr. Maiwa Ayilara. Good to have you on the show, sir.
Welcome to Take 3.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, pleased to be here.
Thank you. So talk to us. What exactly is this copyright levy, and why should Nigerians, especially creatives, care about it?
Yes, thank you. The copyright levy is one of the benefits to be derived under the Copyright Act. Because in the first part of the Copyright Act, it provides that wherever your music, your artistic work, your writings is used in the public, your film, then you have a right to collect money or to license the place or the person who is using it. That's the first leg of income for you. But there are millions of people, private people, who are exploiting this work without paying, without any permission. For example, many of us with our smartphones, Android phones, we send musical works to ourselves.
Right.
We share music on our platforms, and we share even films on our platforms. These are what is called private copy, private usage that naturally under the main copyright law is not affected. As a person, as a private person, when you play music in your home, in your room with your children and family, we cannot come there to say you are using music, you must pay us. It's only when you go public with it. When you go to a place where naira and kobo are exchanged for certain things, whether you are selling beer or you are offering rooms for sale, and then there are elements of music, we go there. But when it comes to music used on your phone, maybe you are listening to a program and you like the music that is coming out of it, you switch your phone and you record. These are private copy, which the law did not remunerate as per licensing model.
Right.
So the only way the law remunerates that is through the copyright levy. That is, the materials with which copying are made are levied specially. And the fund collected from such levy are now plowed back for the creators of that work. So this money is to compensate the creators of the works that are copied privately, that are used privately. So that is just the essence. For example, if I'm driving my private car and I'm playing music and it, or even watching a movie, nobody can come to me and say, hey, because you are playing music in your car. No, it's my private car, which is different from when it happens in a taxi. Taxi is a public arena. We can go to a taxi man with a CD and also license him, collect royalties. But in this world, it's not possible. So the only way they can remunerate the owners of the music that I played in my private car is through the copyright levy, which has been collected over the CDs I played in the car, or flash drive, or even materials like Bluetooth. So all this money are the things that come under the private copy levy or copyright levy.
Okay, so recently the NCC disbursed copyright levy funds to MCSN.
Yes.
On what legal basis was MCSN chosen as the recipient?
Thank you. The disbursement was made under the Copyright Act 2022. And under the Act, it gives the government or the NCC to collect this levy from all those materials that were in the order made by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. That levy order has so many items upon which these levies are collected. So when the same law provides that when this levy is collected, it should be warehoused in the Nigerian Copyright Commission, who should disburse the money through the collective management organizations, which is, one is MCSN, another one is AVRS, which is Audiovisual Rights Society, and the last one is the Reprographic Rights Organization of Nigeria, REPRONIC. So these three organizations are the legally recipients of this money from the NCC. So that's what qualifies MCSN to receive the money.
So
because the money is collected under the collective management system. So if anybody is not under the collective management system, is not qualified to receive even that money.
So it's not just because you're a CMO. You have to be registered.
Yes, you have to be approved by the government to even do the business of a CMO. So you can't just say, hey, because I am an artist or we are a group of artists, we want to be collected. No, the law states that the NCC, that is the Nigerian Copyright Commission, must approve you, must license you to do that business. Just like the CBN would license a bank before going into banking operations. So you can't just say because you have some kind of qualifications, you just jump into the business without the appropriate corporate and government recognitions. No, that is not the case here. You must be approved.
Okay, sir.
But what about the record labels? Where do they come in with regards to this?
The record label will have to also align with the CMOs.
Okay.
So the CMOs have the platform with which to take them in and represent them equally like the individual artists. And don't forget, the record label, of course, yes, they are partakers in what we call sound recording, which is one of the rights recognized under the copyright law. But sound recording is a shared right between performers and recording labels. So if I own a record label, Mayo Music or Mayo Records Nigeria Limited, and I'm engaging you to come and perform, and I recorded your performance on that record to sell to the public. Whatever is that proceed, I must share with you. So performers are interest stakeholders in sound recordings. But so most of these performers who are artists have aligned and assigned their rights to MCSN. Then many indies, that is many of the local recording companies, are also members of MCSN to protect their rights. So the rights of record interests are well protected within the MCSN scheme.
We're going to keep this conversation going, of course, and don't forget you can leave us a message if you're creative out there and you have questions. This is the perfect time. But we also do want to, of course, welcome another guest, because I think it'll be important to have a lawyer on the side of this conversation. We want to welcome entertainment lawyer himself, Ibukun Optimist. Ibukun, good to have you on the show. Ibukun,
thank you so much.
Okay. Your audio was a bit shaky. We want to be sure it's clear. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you clearly.
All right. Ibukun, real quick, I want to ask you a question, right? Legally speaking, okay, because, I mean, that's where you come in.
Yeah.
Can the NCC distribute copyright levy funds to just one CMO? Because people are asking that. When other right holders, representatives exist, what do you think?
All right. On that section 89, which talks about the levy of copyright, the laws give the right to the commission to distribute to recognized CMO. However, there is a particular place in that same section that stated that the minister, the commission, can distribute to the legalized non-CMO, and they can also distribute to other representatives. That is section 89.3, which stated that the funds can be distributed to CMO. So let's say, for instance, it has been distributed to the only recognized society that are receiving the money. It can also be distributed to other representatives of the owners.
Okay. So, Optimist, if a label or rights owner has maybe not given the MCSN a mandate, do you agree that MCSN cannot legally collect or distribute money for, you know, these artists maybe, or the performers?
I would say when it comes to rights, when it comes to copyright, it's treated as like a real property house. It's treated as your car or something that you own. So, and someone, they end up collecting the particular money. That doesn't justify that they can. So to answer the question clearly, they can end up collecting money, but they have to distribute it to the rightful owner. It's just like I own a property, someone end up, or a government end up taking my property and on my behalf without my permission, and they end up using it. So they would definitely have to give him a right. So this, for instance, label, rightful owner end up owning that particular right. If they end up going outside, getting the money, it is very compulsory for them to refund the money back to the rightful owner. But ordinarily, they have to have right from the label, from the rightful owner, from the artist, from whoever owns the copyright before they can collect. But the way the system works in Nigeria, it's very clear that play in place, because there is no way that we can try to know that, oh, this right has been taken in this particular place, or at this bar, at this hotel, at this particular place, they've already received this right. So they can definitely collect, but they have to give it to the rightful owner.
So the big question is the disbursement of these funds.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was going there that how exactly will the 1.2 billion naira that, has been paid now, the copyright levy, be distributed? And what are some of the transparent mechanisms that the association will probably put in place to make sure that it gets to the grassroots performers or musicians, like you mentioned? I mean, we saw that in the press release that, we saw recently.
Thank you. Before I go there, let me quickly clarify something that the lawyer said.
Okay.
Speaking about whether anybody or somebody can collect without assigning or giving permission to the CMO. The law is very clear on that. When you go to Section 88, subsection 9 of the Copyright Act, it gives the CMO the power to collect for every music in the rights that is protected, that is allocated to it under the law.
Okay.
If no such other organization exists, and in Nigeria there is no other organization that is approved to collect for musical works and sound recordings except CMO. So it's only MCSN that can collect for both musical works and sound recording. Then another leg of it, somebody can decide to opt out of the collective management system. That, okay, I'm not going to be part of it, I'm going to be collecting my royalties. So once you take that position, you give MCSN notice. And when you give MCSN notice, MCSN will leave your work aside. We won't collect for you. But be sure that whatever is done under collective management system, you are not part of it. It means that if, for instance, we want to come and collect royalties from New Central, for instance, New Central will pay MCSN for all the works except your own. But you have to contend with that question. How will it be comfortable for you to go to these stations one by one to collect? Not only in Nigeria, but worldwide.
But
So opting out is very tricky. And when we receive any notice, which we have not received from any single artist or individual, an organization may pretend that we are opting out, but that's not the position of the law. In any case, we are not talking the law here. We are talking to the general public.
Right.
So disbursement now, in MCSN, we have rules with which we do our distributions. And these distributions have been going to every creator within the system and outside the country. And we have not really received any protest that, oh, we are not being fair about it, or we are not being transparent about that. So the rules are there for anybody to ask, to study, and to query. Two, with the receipt of the copyright levy, there are new issues arising. The copyright levy, is this mainly for Nigerian market, Nigerian creators? Does it extend to other countries? This is where the principle of reciprocity comes in. Are we going to pay artists in America for instance, or UK, or even in South Africa? We need to answer those questions. And the question now turns around again. Are we receiving copyright levy from these places? But in order to be above board, we don't want to take what we call unilateral decision. We have written to our international friends and international bodies like WIPO. We have written to IFPI that represent phonograph producers. We have written to CISAC to advise, because we are just receiving this money for the first time in Nigeria. And there are countries around the world that may have been, you know, dealing with this kind of money for 10 years, for 20 years. So let us receive information from them. When we get this information, we will sieve and be able to know where we go from there. But what we want to assure everybody, those who are qualified to receive will receive, no matter where they are. And as a start, we have an agreement with PIMA, which we are rolling, and that agreement simply says we are representing members of PIMA. And PIMA intelligence is members across the country. If you know you are a performer and you have works out there that is capable of being copied and so on, that may have been used in this capacity, in private capacity, please come and verify yourself, come and register, come and. So they are doing their own database, which they will hand over to MCSN, which MCSN will feed into its own database, verify again, to be sure that no fake person, no ghost musician enter into that database. Then everybody in that database would equally be given their dues.
Okay.
And so nobody will be left out. No organization will be left out.
What do we then say to the Record Labels Proprietor Association that can say that they have opted out of being represented by MCSN? You know, shouldn't it have been a case where NCC sets aside what should belong to them since they are not being represented? It's like saying that you're giving somebody my money, but the person doesn't represent me. Can you not hold on to my money and then call me and say, who do I give your money to? Why was everything remitted to MCSN?
Good question. When a system is created to solve a problem, right? People for whom that problem is to be solved should not exacerbate that problem. The copyright system is a global phenomenon. It is not only in Nigeria that the Nigerian Copyright Act did not fall out of the blues. It follows from international conventions, treaties, from which there are certain minimum standards to be met. And that is what is distilled and promulgated in the Copyright Act 2022. And this act gives the Nigerian government that responsibility to ensure that copyright is protected within its territory. And the government has said, come, the best way to go about protecting copyright and administering copyright in Nigeria, just like most countries in the world, is through collective management system. So if you want your copyright protected, go into the collective management system. And somebody say you are opting out. And at the same time, you wanted to be protected. When you opt out, you are telling the federal government that leave my work alone. I don't want to be protected. That is the logic.
But beyond protection, like in this situation,
it is
we're talking about a levy being collected.
It is still under protection. Because
so only
the levy
those that are
is
under protection will have their levies remitted? That's what I want to understand.
The levy is to protect works that are being used in private places. I've talked about the public places, where we go in, we license and we sign and we collect the money. But this is what we collect under the copyright private usage protection. It is still under the collective management system. It's like political party. You say you want to collect, you want to be fielded as a candidate. You want to contest an election. The law says you can only conduct, you can only contest election under a political platform, a political party platform. Then you come say, no, I don't like all those parties. They are too gangsteric. I am this and that. Therefore, I want to go and contest on my own. And you think you can win? Or you can even be allowed to contest?
I wish we had all the time to talk about this, but I wanted to clarify, right? Over the years, it's been known that the MCSN, to collect primarily composition, like publishing royalties, how come they are now collecting royalties for sound recordings, masters?
One thing is very clear. When MCSN started out, we started out under the 1970 Copyright Act, Decree number 60. Decree number 61 of 1970. And we were incorporated under the Copyright Act or Copyright Decree of 1968. So, when you look at our articles and memo, it encompasses all kinds of intellectual property. Literary work is there, artistic work is there. Any kind of original nature whose proprietors are willing to join MCSN. That we don't mention all the rights, like computer rights and so on, doesn't mean that we cannot.
Okay.
So it's justified. And also, we have assured everybody that, look, in any emerging trend, when you find out that, okay, certain thing is not very clearly pronounced, not defined this time, it's not pronounced in the letters and articles, we said, okay, fine. No law is cast in stone. If I sign an agreement with you, I can still go back and agree, then we change. So we can approach the Corporate Affairs Commission. This is our memo. We are changing this article, we are changing that article, we are changing that article, as approved by the board and the General Assembly of Members. And it will be done.
Well,
MCSN boss.
so many questions. I have lots and lots of questions, but I think we'll hold it up right here.
We're going to go to a quick break. Of course, you're still watching Take 3. We'll be right back after this. You're still watching Take 3. Now, please don't forget you can be a part of all of our conversations. And the show is not done yet, all right? The number is showing on, of course, the WhatsApp number showing on the screen. We do have to thank you so much, sir, for being a part of it.
Thank you.
I think it's important, of course, that creators know their rights and that it's outlined. There's information everywhere for you to understand it and know better your rights. But thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
We are, of course, keeping the conversation going. We're going to have an incredible guest join us in the studio. But we're going to, of course, start off with playing her package to anticipate her movie dropping out soon. Mr. Maiwa, thank you again so much.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
And of course, thank you to our lawyer, Ibuko Optimist as well, for joining us on the conversation.
Thank you.